Hello, everybody, and welcome to 30 Days to Feeling Fabulous 2021 edition. This is year 4, and I know many of you are actually back 4 years in a row, which is kind of astonishing to me. When I actually started doing these things, it was, just to build out my little healthy community. I was doing it selfishly. Honestly, I didn't want people to feel how I had felt going through my kind of ongoing battle with autoimmune disease. So here we are, year 4, and I hope that you enjoy it. I can't wait to get started. 2020, I'm not even going to really talk 2020. I mean, honestly, my mantra is, this year that it doesn't get any easier. We just get stronger. So we're going to focus on the future. I know 2020 was what it was for many people, including myself. So let's focus on the future. Let's focus on what we can control. That has been my mantra kind of in my head. So anyway, these videos are going to set us up for the week. So week 1 is all about nutrition, but I am going to give you a little bit of background on longevity as we go through it. So that's what the purpose of these videos are. And I hope you enjoy them. I will be posting the rest of the week, just kind of more text-based postings, but obviously chime in when you can. So let's jump right in. I'm going to share my screen with you. And we are off. So I'm going to put it in presenter view slideshow. And here we go. So as I said, this is week 1 nutrition, and I will be posting on Monday of every single week, coinciding with the 4 pillars, but we're going to jump right into week 1 nutrition. So why did I choose longevity, and what does longevity mean to me? So, that was actually selected by last year's participants. I threw out some topics and this came up at the top of the list. So I'm very excited. First of all, the average lifespan is about 80 years old right now. And when you ask people, yes, they all say they want to live longer, but a lot of people are super fearful of those later years. Why? There's the chronic disease states. Over half of US adults, meaning 18 and older, have at least one chronic disease. 40% have 2 or more. I just read a stat that in England, actually, they expect men to live about 40% of their lives in chronic illness, up from 20% in 1996. Now, who wants that? That doesn't sound like what we are hoping our later years will be like. There's also, the fear of decreased mobility, loneliness, lack of money, lack of purpose. All of those things kind of detract from, wanting to live that long life. And we want to make those most of the year. So it's all about health span to me, not necessarily lifespan. And what can we do about that? So that my program, it works well with this concept because it is a whole health program. Again, it's, not one thing that's going to fix it. It's not just eating clean and green, as I say. It is a whole health situation that we need to consider. So the 4 pillars work perfectly with this: nutrition, movement, stress, and sleep. If you are missing any one of those in your lives or not focusing on them, that if you turn it up like a table, as I say, one of those legs fall, everything slides off, creating a whole mess. So, and then I also, community and purpose, I put as the kind of floor and base, and that's what the Facebook group and the accountability partners are meant to kind of add to the program, right? So that is adding those people that you want to kind of surround yourself with like-minded people that are looking to reach the same goals, because most of the research you see, we are like the 5 people that we surround ourselves. So it is very important to surround ourselves with uplifting people also looking to achieve the same things. So that's where I feel like a lot of programs get it wrong. They focus on one thing, like, Whole30 is great, and some of my meals are definitely Whole30-esque, but you're not addressing the other pillars. And you could be eating clean and green, but if you are not sleeping, your health is still going to falter. So we need to concentrate on whole health. And we also need to understand that we can control these things. So I will talk a lot about epigenetics, meaning our environmental influence over our genes, and how we can control chronic disease states and not be fearful of them and not live in fear. So the next 2 slides may get a little sciencey for some. So please excuse me. I will try and keep it very high level. I'm not going to get into the nuts and bolts, but it's important to understand. And the one thing I really want you to kind of think about is kind of shifting the paradigm of aging. So flipping it on itself, meaning, we just think of aging as something that happens, but truly we can control it, right? To some extent. So, shifting that paradigm and thinking of it as a disease. So what can we do? What's at the root cause of aging? What can we do to prevent it? So some of the things that cause aging, and again, a little sciencey here: genomic instability. Most of us think, oh, our genes are stable throughout our life. No, they're not. Actually, there's mutations that occur. There is genetic breaks that occur as we age. And we can actually control that to some extent through our environment. And I'm not going to get too much in this because the rest of the week we'll talk about how we fix this, but knowing that we do have some control. Then there's something like telomeres. Have you heard of telomeres? They're everyone calls them like the little, I think it's called eaglets at the shoelace. They protect your chromosome. They actually are at the end of the chromosome protecting your DNA. And think of them like that little plastic part at the end of your shoelace. So they shorten as we get older, but how can we keep them longer? Again, the epigenetic aspect. What we do influences those links. So your biological age may not be the same as your chronological age. So your chronological age might be, like myself, 50, but I ideally want my biological age to be 30. And that's pretty much how I feel. So I'm hoping that is it. And you actually can get testing to see what your telomere length is. So that's pretty fascinating. Next, genes that turn on and off, they lose this ability as we age. They should be turning on and off, but they lose this ability as we age. Loss of protein maintenance. So we are protein structures. Our hair, skin, nails, organs, immune system, all is made up of various proteins within our body. And so we need to make sure that we'll be able to maintain those proteins as we get older and rebuild and strengthen. And we lose that ability as we get older. Deregulated nutrient sensing, again, this is really sciencey, and we'll get a little bit more into this in the next slide. But being able to use our nutrients that we, basically turning food into fuel. And there's a lot of different metabolic pathways and proteins that can either, go well in terms of aging or go poorly in terms of aging along this. And we're going to dive into that a little bit on the next slide. Mitochondrial dysfunction. So many of you, if you can dig back in those memories to 8th grade chemistry class. So mitochondria, those little power plants within our cells that help us gain energy. And a lot of things we do actually takes that energy away and decreases mitochondrial function as we get older. But there are things we can do to upgrade our mitochondrial function and give us renewed energy. Zombie cells. So this is kind of fun, right? Whoever thought they had zombie cells running through your body, but you do. And they're called senescent cells. And I like to think of them as like, the little Walking Dead. If you ever watched that show, I never did, but my husband did. And walking through your body and kind of create all this problem. So these cells actually are like half dead cells that we want to get rid of. So usually it's through a process called apoptosis, where we get rid of these cells, but they don't want to die. So we need to help kick them out because they create all sorts of problems like inflammation. Depletion of stem cells. A lot of people have heard of stem cells, right? In terms of these are the undifferentiated cells that kind of bring forth new growth. And a lot of people get them injected if you have a lot of money in terms of anti-aging treatments. So, but as we age, these stem cells deplete. So we need to make sure that we're keeping our stem cells strong. And then poor cellular communication. As we age, cells have trouble communicating as they should and create inflammatory compounds like histamines and leukotrienes and all these, other compounds that are doing us damage. So those are the things that are the crux of what is causing aging. So I want you to be thinking, okay, if those things are causing aging, what can we do to kind of, again, treat it as a disease, get to the root problem and do something about it? And we'll dive into that a lot this week because what we're focusing on is the things we can control. So again, one more sciencey page, just power through. But these are things you're going to be hearing in terms of aging. So I thought it was important for you to kind of highlight these key terms. Sirtuins. So these are a class of 7 proteins, and they protect against stressors. So they're good guys. We want them, and they prevent aging, and they can prevent disease. So these are things that are good. And how can we increase sirtuin activity? Again, we'll talk about that this week. There's a lot of supplementation discussion in terms of increasing sirtuin activity, actually. And there's actually like a fad diet right now called the Sirt diet. I've seen no research on it, so I'm not really buying into it, but it's common sense. A lot of the foods are things that are in my program: green tea, dark chocolate, kale. So it's fish oil, nothing shocking. And now they're just having I need to develop a new fancy name so I can develop some blockbuster book. That's how it all works. So now the Sirt diet might be the thing next year. mTOR. So mTOR, a million target of rapamycin. This, again, you don't need to know that. I like to think of it as live fast, die young. So mTOR. This is a genetic pathway, a protein kinase, and we don't really want it activated as we age. So in youth, it's good, and bodybuilders want to activate it because this is all about cellular growth. But as we get older, we don't really want our cells growing. This is what can trigger things like rapid cancer growth. So how do we inhibit mTOR as we get older? One of the things is modifying our protein intake. So I'll talk a little bit more about that in the program. AMPK, this is a thing we want to activate. So mTOR we don't really want to, AMPK we do. And how do we do that? One of the things is through exercise. So that's a good thing that we can do to activate AMPK, which is also a protein kinase, which you don't really need to know. IGF-1, this is similar to insulin. Think of it as a hormone similar to insulin. And as we get older, we want lower levels of IGF-1 because we want to make sure that we are controlling and regulating our DNA synthesis and not overgrowing things, once again, like in mTOR. And then again, I talk about senescent cells, these zombie cells that we want to learn how to get rid of and kick out of our bodies. So those are kind of key terms that I just want you to keep in mind because you may be hearing them more and more as the aging discussion continues. So what can we do? These are simple things that we can do and that we're going to be doing in our program. Eating an anti-inflammatory diet, chronic disease, chronic inflammation. We talked all about that last year. Mediterranean diet is very popular here. Avoiding excess meat consumption, especially as we age. So as we age, we want to make sure we have enough protein because of muscle wasting, something called sarcopenia, but excess meat and poor meat quality can activate this genetic pathway, mTOR. So increasing antioxidants. I've always talked about oxidation of your cells as like cellular rusting. So what can we do? We repair them with antioxidants. So taking on antioxidants, focusing on quality water. Food quality, I will definitely talk about that, following the clean 15 dirty dozen if you can, and eating clean quality protein because you are whatever your animals ate. Watching your sugar, I will have an entire day on metabolic health. That is so, so critical. And 2 years ago, I did talk a lot about the hormone insulin and how critical that was to health. So you can actually go back and view that on YouTube if you'd like. Nutrient density. So that's what I am always harping on. It's not about the calorie, right? It's about what that calorie is telling your body. Your body talks fat, protein, carbohydrates, minerals, vitamins. It does not talk calories. We need to focus on nutrient density. I have the vitamins and minerals listed there that we need to be thinking about, but sometimes we need a little supplement helper because of the poor quality of our soil these days. But yes, nutrient density. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about it in the program about the blue zones, right? I'm wondering if you've heard of them. They're the 5 areas in the world with the longest living humans. There's only one in the US, Loma Linda, California. They have a lot of things in common. So I will be posting on that for a day, primarily plant-based, most of them. Some of them follow a Mediterranean-esque diet. And they eat things like all fresh fruits and vegetables. They eat local to source and very, very few processed foods, no sugary foods or beverages. The good news for some of you is that they do consume a little wine. So, hey, that makes me a little happy too, although I'm trying to do a dry January here. And they also eat food mindfully with friends. So there's a lot more to it than just how they eat, but we will talk more about that as the week progresses. Proven longevity hacks as far as nutrition. There really are two that you'll hear over and over again: calorie restriction, intermittent fasting. So calorie restriction does not sound super fun to me. 1,200 to 1,600 calories for men, 1,000 to 2,200 for women. And that's long-term. So, if you can maintain that, great. I don't want to. So I do practice intermittent fasting. I'm a 16/8 girl, have been probably for a couple years now. And I find it works really well for me. It just means that I eat between the hours of 10 and 11 in the morning to 6 at night, typically. Of course, there's variations, there's vacations, there's dinners with friends. Not much this year. But anyway, so I'm going to spend an entire day on intermittent fasting and talking about the different fasting methods, including the Prolon method, which is the fasting mimicking diet. So we'll dive into that more, but this is just a highlight to show you that those are the two proven hacks as far as longevity goes in nutrition. So finally, I'm just going to touch on some supplements. Always talk to your doctor before taking supplements. These are just the research supplements as far as longevity is concerned. NAD, you can't actually supplement NAD and have it work. It's not absorbed by the body. So NAD helpers, the helper molecule that you're going to want to take, they're called NMN and NR. There's some research, definitely in a lot more like rodent studies than human studies, but a lot of people are taking either NMN or NR in terms of longevity. I took it for about 6 months just to see if I felt a difference. I didn't. It's expensive. I stopped taking it for now. And then vitamin D3, K2, so critical. I've been harping on this with COVID to make sure you're getting your vitamin D levels checked and make sure they are optimal in terms of your immune system function. So there's a fantastic research out there about how severe COVID cases are with the correlation of vitamin D. So please, please make sure you're getting your vitamin D tested. Fish oil, great anti-inflammatory, healthy weight maintenance, and great supplement all around. And then all your antioxidants, resveratrol, quercetin, any kind of antioxidant formula is great. Eating antioxidants is also great. Rapamycin, something again that's a little more on the kind of questionable side. It is a prescription. It was discovered, I think, in Easter Island for some other use, and they found out that it inhibits mTOR. So they are speculating that it will help with longevity, but again, that's kind of a little bit out there. And then a big player here is managing your blood sugar. So metformin, again, this is prescription, and a lot of people with high blood sugar are put on metformin if they're pre-diabetic. But it just turns out that it is proven to be a longevity helper. So that you're going to hear more and more about metformin in terms of longevity. But then there's other ways to manage your blood sugar through supplementation, one of them being berberine and one of them being green tea extract. So those are the supplements that I've researched mostly in terms of longevity. Which ones do I take? D3, K2, yes. Fish oil, yes. I take, I'm more of the vitamin C girl right now for in terms of antioxidants, and I eat a ton of antioxidants with my green tea and my blueberries daily. And then I currently don't do anything for blood sugar management except through diet and nutrition. So that's my overview for the week. Super excited to get started with you all. And I'm going to go into a lot of these things during the week. But if you have any questions, please leverage the Facebook group. That's what everyone is here for. We're all looking to do the same thing, as well as myself. I can't wait to spend the month with you. And I hope you got a lot out of this conversation. And cheers to your health in 2021. Take care.